Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. Is it Andrea? And I want to make sure I get your name correct. And I'm
There's
like
so
looking
many
at
ways. You know what? I say Andrea because that's how I grew up, but I answer to anything because it's just one of those funny names where you can say it a million ways. So I don't fuss.
yeah, so there was this funny story where this lady whose name was Andre, and everyone would call her Andrea. And she's like, no, it's Andre. So it's funny. So Andrea, and it's Lepcio, right?
Yes, that was perfect.
Yes.
Nobody says it perfectly. That was perfect.
Yay. Andrea Lepcio, and she is the founder of Mighty Fit, a personalized fitness program designed for individuals over 40 who want to build strength, flexibility, balance, and stamina. At 66, Andrea brings a wealth of experience, certifications, and a contagious sense of fun to her work as a fitness coach. She specializes in creating custom fitness plans tailored to each person's unique body needs and goals. Having transformed her own life from a sedentary writer to a dynamic yoga master, Andrea is passionate about helping others discover their inner strength and age with vitality and confidence. Beautiful. You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting ready for my 67th birthday in a month.
October. October what?
11.
11th. Oh, that is awesome. My son's birthday is October 8th. And so we're getting ready for his ninth birthday. So happy early birthday. And I just
Thanks.
wanted to say that I'm so excited to share with you that I am today, even listeners, I am 7 years sober. I know. I was like, where's that Zoom where you can celebrate on there? Where's the reaction button here? Let's put some celebrations.
I'm looking for it.
Yay! Yay! Yeah, so I'm
Oh, I got a heart.
excited.
Okay.
Oh, yay! Thank you. So, and listeners, also, Andrea's, are you 33 years or 34 years sober from alcohol?
So 33.
33 years. Wow.
Yeah, 33. Because
Congratulations.
my anniversary is February 19th. So
February 19th.
yeah.
Amazing. Oh, I'm so
And that
excited.
reminds us, I mean, it really is, and it is 7 years, 33 years, you know what it is? It's every day.
Every day.
It's just every day. It's
It
not,
is.
and that doesn't seem to change.
Right. One day
Yeah.
at a time. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
so I'm excited to talk to you. But to start, Andrea, could we just share, or could you just go ahead and share what inspired you to create Mighty Fit and how the concept of being mighty guides your work with
I know, I
clients?
know. I love the idea of mighty. So it really in many ways was the pandemic, right? In the sense that I was in an in-person studio prior to the pandemic, and then all of a sudden, like literally, we had to shut the door on March 12th, right? So there was no more in person, and sort of immediately I thought, well, I had already had some experiences with Zoom and things before, and I thought, well, why don't I just jump on Zoom and see who I can teach, And so there was there's a senior college in my community. So I contacted them and I said, I'm going to just do a free morning yoga class for everybody. And there were like 30 people just walked on, in the middle of the pandemic and just did this yoga with me. So that kind of started the idea of what could I build online? And really, I felt from the beginning that what was cool about going online was that I could work with people. I could work with more people because I could work with people anywhere, right? I didn't just have to work with people who were within 10 miles of my location. I could work with people anywhere. And that's what's proven to be true. So I've kind of found people and made friends all over the place as a consequence of doing this online business. And so even though we're post-pandemic and people are going back to the gym or back to their, Pilates or yoga classes in person, I feel like there still is a need to make programming available online. And for lots of reasons that works for people. So
Yes,
yeah.
it does. It actually worked out for me too. So I had an experience so I got sober in 2017, and in 2018 I decided to get a mentor, but she's also a fitness expert, and she did yoga and she did Pilates, cardio, kickboxing, all of the fun stuff. All the exercise is actually really fun, really, besides maybe some strenuous hikes that I recently have taken that like, why am I doing this? But that it was still beautiful in nature. But I realized that her videos were so convenient. She would just say, "Hey, Gina," during the pandemic, for example, we are just talking about this. Even though I couldn't see her in person, it was great because I would just tell her, "Hey, these are the areas that I would like to work on in my body." And I think at the time it was like my butt, my hips, and my core area. And she designed a fitness video specifically for my body and my body type and how I actually exercise. And it was so neat. So it really tailors to your client. And I love that. And I got the best results when I was working out at home because it's a drag sometimes to go out to the gym and then you have to wait and for the machine to be available, or it's just not a good energy inside there. At least your home is like your sanctuary and somewhere where you can work out and enjoy
Yep.
your
Yep.
coach. So I love
I
that.
know, I think that's really true. I like, I mean, I don't, I offer some things that are just like, anybody can grab it. So it's not customized, but I offer programming that's customized because I've learned being a personal trainer that everybody is really unique, right? And I can give an exercise to one person and it's successful, and I can give the same exercise to somebody else and it doesn't work on their body, and then I need to come up with something that's going to suit their body because everybody's a little bit different. And one thing that's interesting is that the most acute difference, weirdly, is in stretches. So I can give one person a stretch and say, here, stretch your shoulders like this, and then somebody else can say, I don't feel anything. Right. So for that person, I have to think through and come up with a different way for them to stretch their shoulder. So I love being able to just respond to each person as an individual because we are all so super individual.
Absolutely. And speaking about uniqueness, you do actually have a unique approach to fitness that emphasizes self knowledge and personal empowerment. Can you explain how self awareness plays a role in physical fitness and overall well being?
Yes. And it really has to do with um, being able to be quiet and take your attention inside your body and be present with yourself so you can feel and notice, right? If something hurts you, like if my shoulder hurt me, I would know it hurt me. Like, oh, this shoulder, it really hurts me, right? But often I find people are very unaware, right? And it could mean that, so that somebody is always sitting like this and they're just not aware. They don't know that they're sitting hunched over, right? There's just all kinds of examples like that. So I just really like to encourage people to be able to be quiet, go inside and just observe what they feel and what they notice, right? And I like to draw people's attention to kind of what I call the noisy parts, right? So my arthritic knee, might be noisy, or maybe there's a crook in my neck today, that could be the noisier part that kind of really draws my attention. And then I'll equally say, okay, what's the quiet part, right? And is it just kind of like, I'm quiet on my forearm, right? Or I'm quiet on my ankle, right? And just kind of notice that too, right? As just a way to really understand yourself. Because if you want to dedicate yourself to a fitness program and you want to get into shape and you want to move, you want to take your self-knowledge with you on that journey so that you don't hurt yourself, right? It's really useful for not hurting yourself because you understand yourself. I was helping a friend spread wood chips this morning. So I had to I was pitchforking and shoveling and stuff, but I know my body really well, right? So I could sort of feel how my back felt and then at a certain point I said to her, I'm going to do 5 more loads because I could feel that I was coming towards the end of how much oomph and energy I had for that activity, right? And again, that came from my self-knowledge. So I feel great, fine now. I did not hurt myself doing this strenuous work because I had that awareness, right? So that's really key, especially when you want to be active. And that's a sort of segue into having to say that as you age, you are better off being mobile and being active than being not active, right? So I have a 92-year-old client right now who you wouldn't believe what she can get. She can get down on the ground and do an exercise. She can stand back up. I have an 84-year-old client who can barely stand up out of a chair, right? So they are almost 10 years apart. He's the younger one, but he's less fit than she is, right? So it is just how you want to age. If you want to be active, if you want to just be independent, because if I can stand up out of a chair, I'm independent, then you have to be mobile, and you kind of have to take yourself seriously enough to give that to yourself. Because if you don't, what your body is going to do is you're going to lose muscle mass, you're going to lose bone mass, and everything is going to kind of dry up and get stiff. That's what's going to happen if you do nothing.
That's so true. Oh my goodness. So you remind me of my mom, but she's been trying to move a lot. She's got a membership to, I believe, some other gym close by to her home. And she's about 74 years old. But her husband, who is about 5 years younger than her, she's trying to encourage him to move because he actually still works from home and he's always at the computer. And then he just like sits down and watches TV afterward and he's not really active. And she's like, I don't know how to get him active. I try to encourage him. I said, I need to come over there and do some exercises with you. Maybe that would encourage him to do it like as a group, as a family, that'd be fun.
Yeah. No,
But
it's
it's true.
worth. It's worth. I mean, they're saying sitting is the new smoking.
Yes.
Yeah. And just like if you have to sit all day, it's just terrible. You have to, let's say I had to sit and do a task for a little while. You've got to, like, every hour, you've got to get on up, you've got to get on up and do something, right? And even if you have to come back and sit again, but you've got to take a break. Yeah.
It's so true. Like my husband and I will be watching movies, and then I just notice I'm like, I am so uncomfortable sitting. So I pull out the yoga mat and I will use the foam roller. Just roll my back, do some
I
stretching, do
love
cat
it.
cow.
Perfect.
You can do that
Perfect.
in front of the TV. You don't have to sit down.
Perfect.
Move
Yeah.
and watch TV at the same time.
Yeah.
You won't miss out on the shows, trust me.
Right.
Yeah, so you mentioned that fitness is available to everyone and there are no limits. How do you help clients overcome the common barriers they face in achieving their fitness goals, such as fear, age, or physical limitations, which we were just talking about?
Yeah. Well, so pain you have to respect, right? So if something really hurts, so if I say go like this and they go ow, then that's all we're doing, right? We're not doing we're not going to crank it up there, right? So you have to respect pain, and seek. I mean, I can give you exercises to strengthen, right? And I did have a client who had an injury, and so she was really limited, 74-ish. And she did physical therapy very diligently, and then she worked with me as well. And she said at the end of physical therapy, she was here-ish. And then another half year working with me, she was back here.
Wow.
Yeah. So injuries we can work through, but we have to be diligent and structured with that. Yeah. Age is often can show up as I'm tired, I don't have the energy for it. And so you just need to kind of bite size it a little bit and do what is doable for you. Mm-hmm. So maybe 5 minutes of exercise a day is enough, right? Because trust me, if you did 5 minutes a day for, let's say, 10 days, you'll be ready for 10 minutes a day, mm-hmm. right? Because you'll get stronger. If you take action, you will get stronger. And once you get stronger, you'll say, hey, this is kind of fun. I want to do more. And you'll add on and you'll do more as you get stronger. Yeah. And so what was the other thing you said was fatigue? You said something else about
fear, age, and physical limitations.
And fear, yeah. And so fear is just like, I just try to be, first of all, I believe in loving yourself, right? So you kind of have to respect yourself and respect where you are. And if where you are is really afraid, then let's respect the fear, not discount the fear. Just say, yes, I'm afraid. You're afraid, right? I live with my 89-year-old mother, who still can plank. She's my role model. But she had a terrible fall a few years ago, and it's left her very afraid of walking, and she will not walk alone. She will only walk on your arm with a cane, because she's terrified, even though she's fairly strong. And most of the time she's not going to fall, but she has this huge fear of falling, right? So you have to, if you have a fear, you have to just respect the fear and respect yourself, and then do what you can to like get stronger, to feel stronger, so that you can increase your confidence to counteract the fear. Yeah.
Right. That's so true. Yes, I remember my mom had a fall sometime earlier this year, and she says, I haven't recovered. I haven't been the same, but she's doing better though. But it's scary, for our parents, and bless your mom. Oh my goodness, that's right. I remember you were sharing me about her. So sweet.
Yeah.
Um, Now you speak about the importance of fun and curiosity in fitness. Like I love like Zumba, for example. I love dancing, right? So I obviously I'm going to go to whatever I enjoy. How do you keep the process of getting fit enjoyable and engaging for your clients?
I think variety is really the answer, right? So that you kind of try different things. Uh, don't get stuck in a routine, because it's actually not good for, like, if you just only walked and that's all you ever did, your body's benefiting to some extent, but it doesn't get as much benefit because you're only doing this one thing, right? So it's really useful to take a variety of approaches. So to walk and bike and row, like try different things for your cardio, right? And similarly for strength training, I really like variety, right? So there are plenty of people who would just like chest press 3 sets, do the same thing. I actually really will give somebody a chest press, and then we'll do a chest fly, and then we'll do a push up. I like to bring variety into it, because I feel like it's better for the muscles, right? Because I've asked them, rather than saying, just do this one thing, I've said, do this thing and then do it this way, right? And then do it this way. And so I think that's really good for the muscles to be challenged to do 3 different things rather than the same thing. Yeah, so I think variety is really a big part of it. And it also helps with the fun, just like trying something new. Like I'm looking at my hula hoop. Like I'm really bad at hula hooping, but I got this hula hoop because I think, it's just something different and fun to do and try to get my body to be able to do. And if you try something new, you probably like, you're not going to be great day one. So you need to say, okay, again, 5 minutes, let me do it for 5 minutes a day, because after maybe 10, 20 days, I'm going to start, oh, now it's starting to work better, right? So you can teach yourself that way. Yeah.
Yes, well, you're definitely encouraging me to get back into my stretching. I was just sharing again with my husband. It's like, we're not getting old. We just need to stretch more. Because
Yes.
as we age, our body, yeah, can't move as fluid as we used to when we were younger. And I think the stretching is so important. And I was trying to do this pose that I used to do a long time ago, and I was really good at it. And I was able to almost, not almost, but trying to put my belly button to the floor, and I was able to do it. But I tried it yesterday. I'm like, I can't even move my back. I said, "Oh my goodness, I need to go ahead and start stretching again." I
Yeah.
just been stuck. And so I thank you so much for encouraging me to start movement again, because I feel so much better when I move.
That's the thing, is you feel better. Yeah, you feel better. Now, in terms of stretching, though, it's important because there's newer thinking about stretching now.
Oh yeah.
So what you want to do is, before a workout, you're going to move dynamically, right? So I'm going to warm up by moving dynamically. That's how I'm going to warm up, right? It's only after your workout that you can do a static stretch,
Mm.
right? So static stretching is for after your workout, and dynamic movement for before the workout.
Well, that's good to know, because I thought you were supposed to do that, the static, what is it called again?
Static.
Static stretching before and after. Okay. Or some people just do it after and don't even do any movement before. So this
Yeah,
is good
yeah.
to know.
You just want, when your body's warm, then you can hold. So when your body's warm, you can try to think of another stretch to do. Oh, triceps. Okay. So when your body's warm, then so here's a tricep stretch, right? I can do this, hold it for 20, 30 seconds after I've worked out and my body is warm. But before, I want to just kind of dynamically move before. Yeah, it's very different. I mean, I'm much older than you. I mean, when I was a kid, you'd go to gym class and they'd go touch your toes.
Yeah.
And that is like so bad and so wrong, and we don't do that anymore.
It reminded me of my PE teacher back in the day. She used to play that song "Let's Get Physical" by Olivia Newton-John.
So
We were
funny.
outside on our PE numbers just doing, and we would be touching our toes. So you reminded me that was like in the
So funny.
90s, early 90s. Yeah, so you offer a very personalized approach to fitness through the Mighty Fit app and your custom programs. What can someone expect when they start working with you, and how do you ensure their program is truly customized to their needs?
I'm going to do a really deep intake. We're going to spend a chunk of time on Zoom so I can really understand and ask you a whole bunch of questions. And sort of kind of between the two of us, we can kind of puzzle everything out and make sure we've covered everything that we need to cover, because sometimes it's through the conversation that you remember something that you might not have, thought of if we hadn't had this deep conversation. And then from there, I can design a program, and then through the app, I'll give you the program, and you'll start to work it. And immediately something doesn't work, something doesn't feel right. You come right back, there's a way to text in the app. So you tell me right away, it's not working. We can jump back on a call, or I can send you some new videos, and make and tweak and adjust until it's something that's really serving you.
I
So
love that.
it's a constant, there's accountability and communication process. So I'm really aware of what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and what are some words of encouragement would you actually offer to help them take that first step?
Well, I mean, sort of the positive is that if you work out, you're going to sleep better, you're going to feel better, and probably you're going to look better. Right. So those are the positive things to say. The negative thing to say is that if you don't work out, then you're going to get stiffer, and movement is going to get more challenging, and getting older is going to be really difficult. Right. So that's sort of the negative side of the story. But the positive side of the story is you're going to feel better. You're going to be in a better mood, and you're going to sleep better, and you're going to look better too. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you actually maybe even demonstrate some key practices or exercises that you believe are so crucial for staying active and healthy at any age?
Yeah. Well, you mean do something?
If you'd like, yeah.
I was just before we were on the call, I was doing I was making a video to help people that have back pain, because a lot of people have back discomfort, which could be from sitting all the time,
Mhm.
right? Or it could be that they literally have something wrong, like stenosis, or something could literally be wrong. But it's both. So, so bridge is a fantastic exercise, right? So you're lying on your back and your knees are bent. It's nice to have your feet under your knees, or kind of where that if you reach down with your hands, you can touch your feet. Then you've got good support for bridge. And then you're going to push your feet down, which is going to activate your hamstrings, your glutes, your quadriceps, and your core as you come up. And you can come up really high, or maybe you don't come up that high right away, right? Maybe you can just come up a little bit, and and build up over time to come up higher. So that's a really good basic one, bridge. It's always useful to pull your knees into your chest. Again, everybody's different how close they come to your chest, and rock a little bit. That's very easy, nice and easy on the back to do that. And I'm going to just pop up, and if you can't pop up, you would roll over and come up gently. But another great, I'll show two more. This is cat and cow, which is a classic yoga thing. So your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. You're in an all four position. And if you have trouble with your wrists, you can be on fists here too. And what you're going to do is inhale, so your belly's dropping and your pelvis is coming up and your shoulders are going back, and you're gonna look up. So at the top is cow, and then you're gonna exhale, and everything's scooping in. So your pelvis drops and your head drops, and you scoop up and in. So that's cat and cow. Excuse me. Really a great core strengthener and really nice moving the back, sort of easing out backs again if you've been sitting for much of the day. And then another one in this position that I love is bird dog. So the thing that's really key here is that you're drawing your core in and your glutes, and nothing is going to move here. The only thing that's going to move is I'm going to float an arm up and a leg up, and come back and float the other arm and the other leg up, and come back. And that's called bird dog. And that is so great for strengthening the whole core, but in particular, this lower back area where a lot of people have trouble. And bird dog is a really great strengthener for that.
Beautiful. Yes, you've demonstrated my favorite moves, by the way. I love cat cow, and the bird dog isn't kind of I need to start doing that one because I need to strengthen my lower back and then the core area. Those are my areas that I like to focus on mostly. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for demonstrating that. Now, for
Yeah.
our listeners who are wanting to go ahead and connect with you, how can they do so?
Yeah. So, well, my email is andrea@mighty.fit. And the website is just https://mighty.fit. So it's just, there's no com, it's just mighty.fit. And I'm just now have created a new thing, which is an online community in school. So people can join that community too. So if you emailed me at Andrea, ANDREA @mighty.fit, I can connect you to school. And that's I wanted sort of a lower cost option. So it's kind of a lower cost option to get started with me. Because obviously the custom option is just a little more costly because you have more of my time. So
Wonderful. And finally, what are some exciting future projects or goals you have for Mighty Fit? And how can listeners get
yeah, well,
involved?
really to kind of just, I've really just started to create this online community, and I love just any opportunity to really bring people together, because I can be supportive one-on-one, but if we create a community, everybody can encourage and support each other. So we don't feel alone, right? Because we might be doing our workouts on our own, but it's kind of gives you like kind of this buddy feeling to feel like everybody's in it together, and we're all kind of growing and challenging ourselves together. So I find that really, really helpful.
Yes, I remember when I first became sober, the first thing I started doing was exercising. And that helped me tremendously throughout my sobriety journey was exercise, exercise. And then I started building better habits, and I just felt good with the good chemicals, the good serotonin and dopamine that was naturally being released, those endorphins as well. And I just felt incredible. So I encouraged our listeners to go ahead and connect with Andrea so that way you can
Okay.
feel good too, especially if you're even sober curious and you want to start getting healthier, connect with her for sure. She's great, and she's also 33 years sober. So that's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Andrea, for being on my show today. Any last
Thanks
words
for
or
having
thoughts?
me.
Yeah,
It was
of
so fun
course.
to talk. Really great. Yeah.
Any last words or thoughts you'd like to share?
Uh, well, let's go back to the kind of the one day at a time sort of works for everything. So one day at a time is certainly how I stay sober. Um, and one day at a time, it's kind of, stay for me, I was always like especially when I was drinking and drugging, speed demon, right? I was always like 10 steps ahead of myself. And now I just love that I'm kind of in my body and calmer and in the present moment, right? Which I think is another aspect of one day at a time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. It's been a
Thanks.
pleasure.
Nice to see you. All right. Thanks a lot.